that he is
misinformation, but
supporting neo-Nazis.
Well, I mean, but that's not an incitement to violence, right? And that's not encouraging violence. I mean,
Well,
if you
yeah,
want to,
there are people out there that would love to kill a Schnazi because they believe that Schnazis are bad people and they vow that they
sure,
would
but
have,
I mean, we have comparable examples of Republicans calling Democrats groomers and saying that they're a threat to children. Like that's probably way more inflammatory than calling someone a Schnazi.
You don't even
right?
have to talk.
You're saying it's way more. Now, I'm saying that I agree, and you're saying
Well,
no, it's not on the left. The political leaders never do it.
Yes,
They
because
could
we're
never
talking
do
about
it.
two different things. I'm not talking about being inflammatory. I'm talking about glorifying violence.
I'm also curious, Flack. You're aware that Republican politicians themselves were also condemning Trump for his phrases, right? Like this was everything. Like everyone was saying what Trump said with verified people was really cringe.
Right, and there was a time where it was. But how long did it go on after knowing? I mean, there's a
It
time when you
wasn't.
could go look at the
The
video for
problem.
yourself, look
The
at the
problem is
transcript
that
for yourself, and find out. And it led it all the way up to the debate. Biden repeated it in the debate.
The problem is that you guys just don't understand in the context of what Trump said. It was actually a pretty horrible, messed up thing to say, and the whole condemnation afterwards wasn't a cutting or misinformation. The clip was available for anyone to see. Anyone saw it. People just understood what Trump meant because the whole thing was a wink, wink, nudge, nudge towards white supremacists.
So when he says,
when
he says, and I'm not talking about the white supremacists,
you don't. So
that's not what he means.
it's a funny thing. If we can go down this line of reasoning, you are aware that every single person there was a neo-Nazi or white supremacist, right?
No, not everybody there was.
Everyone was, right?
No.
There were definitely. The whole march was organized by them.
And
right?
see, okay, so if they were all neo-Nazis, why was there a problem? They all agreed. They were all there and they all agreed. So where was the issue at?
Sorry, what was that?
You're saying that everybody there was a neo-Nazi. So why was there an issue there?
He's saying everyone on the right.
There was an issue because a white supremacist took a car, then drove it into the crowd, and then they were marching around with white tiki torches saying, "We will not replace us."
Listen, listen. If you have critical thinking, there were people there that weren't neo-Nazis, but they did not want the statues torn down.
I'm just so Flack. Would you march with people like that in order to get?
There were people there that just did not want the statues torn down. They weren't neo-Nazis.
So
that's who Trump was talking about.
So to confirm, you'd march with Nazis in order to get your political job, correct? And you're you're a good person because of that, or you're a fine person?
No.
Okay, so do you understand why saying very fine people, even if we do assume that there were people that were good people, which they weren't, right? But even if we assume that, why would you march with schmazzies in order to get your political jobs done?
What if they were just there to say, I don't
want the
Why were they
there? Why were they there? Who organized the event?
Because they didn't want the statue torn down.
Who organized that event? Why were they mad at the statues?
That's see, you're trying to trail off when the
I'm
point
not trailing. They said it.
Yes,
They
you
said
are, because the point is people were there that were not neo-Nazis that didn't want the statues torn down, and those are the people on the side that he's talking about on both sides.
So
they didn't want the statues down because they were just mad. They were mad at the statues because they were saying you will not replace us, and that was a form of replacement. They were exposing white nationalist rhetoric. Do you understand that? The whole thing was organized by white nationalists. The whole thing was a white nationalist event. Why would you go to that? Just curious. If you're a very fine person, or you're not for Nazis, but you just want to march with them to get something done, motivated by Nazis, it just doesn't make any sense. You
also,
said it yourself. You wouldn't do it. So
even if we were to grant that framing was completely wrong, what do you think is going to inflame more rhetoric or inflame more violence between saying that? Also, someone has crazy background noise right now. It's super distracting. I think it's Kalichi. So what do you think is going to inflame more rhetoric inflame more violence between saying that a political politician said that there was very fine neo-Nazis, or different political politicians saying that one party is the party of violence, has blood on their hands due to the Laken Riley killing, saying that one party is a party of groomers, saying that they're a danger to children? Which one do you think is going to inflame more political violence?
Those are both one-sided examples. Are you giving me a side from the left?
Yeah, I'm saying like between saying one politician said that neo-Nazi was a very fine person, and another person saying that one party is a party of groomers, which do you think is going to incite more violence?
I wouldn't know. I think they both could incite violence.
So which do you think someone would be more likely to enact violence against? A neo-Nazi or a pedophile?
But I mean, I can't speak for anybody. I'm
Really?
sorry. Yeah, I can. I mean, because some people, I mean, would equally do both. I mean,
I think anybody watching can probably say, yeah, it's probably more likely that I would engage in violence against a pedophile than a white supremacist.
a lot of people would say both
sorry,
equally.
just to, if I can note, like, Democrats also call Republicans pedophiles, right? Like,
Sure.
Like I'm
but-
not. I'm a leftist. I'm not trying to argue this. I don't think I'm not beholden to either party. But like everyone's on the Epstein files, according to everyone.
Sure. Yeah, but the point I'm making is separate. I'm just criticizing his point. The point I would make is that inflammatory rhetoric isn't necessarily the problem. The problem is glorifying violence. And the party that glorifies violence infinitely more is the Republicans. I don't
Domestically,
really care if we
perhaps.
I don't really care if we do like inflammatory rhetoric, because right now everything is inflammatory. So to not do inflammatory rhetoric would be to lie. All right, like calling Donald Trump a pedophile because he's best friends with Jeffrey Epstein isn't that much of a stretch. Calling Donald Trump a fascist isn't that much of a stretch. Like those are inflammatory statements, but they're defensible. So inflammatory rhetoric can't be the problem, because everything is inflammatory right now. The problem is that only one side is tweeting out things like Nightmare on Wall Street. Only one side is pardoning seditious conspirators that tried to steal the election for you. Only one side is making fun of people who get attacked by hammers, saying, well, maybe they should have built a wall. You know, like there's only one side doing that, and it's the Republicans. There are some cursory examples, like who's the one Maxine Waters. She's fairly inflammatory, but she's also a nobody in the Democratic Party, and no Democrat likes her. So
Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, the two Democrat leaders at the time, they both condemned her. And they said that sort of rhetoric is unacceptable immediately, like 2 days after.
Right. I mean, like, you have Democratic Party outsiders and you have Donald Trump. Like the level of political like glorifying of violence between the two sides is drastically different.
I mean, is it possible that both sides glorifying violence outside of America leads to violence within America?
What do you mean glorifying violence outside?
So, like, when we glorify, normalize, and fund mass genocide in Palestine or mass slaughter in Iran and Iraq, I feel like that violence necessarily comes back to us.
Democrats glorify mass slaughter in Iran and Iraq.
Obviously, they did. They voted for invasion into Iraq.
In what, 2001?
I'm just curious. Do you think that voting on a military action into Iraq is the same thing as justifying or glorifying the slaughter?
Yeah, it's literally justifying it, right? If you vote for something, you're justifying it.
Whoa, what is bro saying?
No, again, that's not the same thing. If you vote on a military action versus voting for the slaughter of innocent civilians, those are not the same thing. You understand that, right?
Well, I mean, when you know that the U.S. military will slaughter innocent civilians, which literally anyone with any knowledge of any amount of American military history would know that, yes, it is.
Do you think that politicians are of the belief that the American military has a policy to deliberately slaughter innocent civilians?
They either do, or they're the type of people that don't care, right? Because that is the fact. If you go look at the war in Korea, the war in Vietnam, the literal actions we took against Iran previously, it is self-evident.
What actions against Iran previously?
The actions in Iran, undermining the democracy within Iran.
Iran didn't have a democracy; they had a constitution.
Of course, wait. I'm so sorry. When we helped depose Mossadegh.
Yeah, that wasn't a democracy.
Obviously, it was a democracy. People voted in and supported Mossadegh.
No, they didn't vote the prime minister in, and I know because I've
they voted in the Majlis, and then the Majlis voted in the prime minister.
The Majlis, no, the minister is appointed by the Shah, and then he's confirmed.
No. In the same way that the prime minister of the United Kingdom is appointed by the king, right? The Shah does have power, right? So it is a genuine monarchical.
He had the most
democracy.
Power, right? He had the most power in that system, correct?
So it depends. So I think it depends which time you're talking about. So I think late into Mossadegh's tenure, right, prior to the CIA overthrowing him, right, actually Mossadegh was wielding an extraordinary amount of power compared to the internally imposed Shah.
Because he stole all that power, correct?
Because he stole the. Wait, I'm sorry. What's your point here? Was Mossadegh? Was Mossadegh? Okay. One second.
Sure.
Are you denying there were democratic structures in Iran?
I'm denying what you're framing. You're framing of America.
No, answer the question as asked. Did Iran have democratic structures?
In a way, yes.
They clearly did. Did America undermine those democratic structures?
No, not even close.
You don't think that by destroying the democratic structures in Iran, right, and reimposing, sorry, when they explicitly supported the Shah, right, we explicitly supported the reinstitution of the power of the Shah, right, which is a zero democratic structure, right? Did that make Iran more or less democratic?
I can explain to you because I actually have read infinitely more about Iran than you have. So we can go down.
You don't know anything about me.
So, yeah, sure. So in 1906, Iran had a constitution. That constitution enshrined powers to the Shah. By the time when Mohammad Reza Pahlavi took power in 1941, he had the most amount of power. He was the Shah. He has the power to appoint ministers. He has the power to dismiss ministers. He had the power for royal decrees. He had the power to call upon the military. He had the power to appoint.
So does the United Kingdom king.
Yeah. The Shah had the most amount of power in Iran. He didn't use so much power, but even around 1949, when he almost got assassinated, he started taking more power. He started using more power. In fact, the whole Soviet
doesn't undermine anything I just said.
You can let me finish. I'm going to get to your point. He controlled the military to kick the Soviets out, right? He already had the most amount of power. Mossadegh was not democratically elected. He was appointed by the Shah and then confirmed by the modules. Ironically, you say Operation Ajax.
Exactly like the Prime Minister in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, you say Operation Ajax, the event that you say that we overthrew him. What was that plan? The plan was to tell the Shah to constitutionally dismiss Mossadegh through a royal decree, which he has the power to.
By undermining the working people's aims.
It was not. What are you talking about?
I'm so sorry. We explicitly undermined the Majlis in that case.
The Shah has the power to dismiss the minister.
Well, yeah, because he's a monarch, right?
Part of the Constitution. Yeah, we can read it. Yeah, that's constitutional, correct?
The Constitution doesn't mean that it's democratic.
Are you okay? So
it being constitutional doesn't mean that it's democratic.
If Congress votes to impeach Donald Trump, are you going to say that?
Because America is a democracy, right? So America is a democracy. Congress is a democratic structure. The Shah is not a democratic structure. If your argument is that what America did was constitutional, I would still disagree on like some technicality points. That's not really the point.
No. The Shah has the power to
was external? No. So first of all, it wasn't constitutional, right? Because the Shah can't rely.
We can read the part of the Iranian Constitution.
One second. Okay. In his official capacity, he cannot rely on foreign intervention for that purpose.
That's not what happened. Do you know why the Shah decided?
Absolutely, what happened? We had CIA. Sorry, we had American funds funding explicitly Shah-based violent gangs.
I'm just curious. Why did the Shah choose to dismiss Mossadegh?
Why did the Shah? So the Shah was aiming to dismiss Mossadegh like since his beginning. He did not like Mossadegh.
This is false. He appointed Mossadegh. He agreed with the shit he was doing, including oil nationalization.
You did not.
So I'm just to clarify, because you don't know, the reason why he decided to dismiss Mossadegh was because Mossadegh had issued a referendum saying he was going to dismantle parliament, to dissolve parliament, right? He was going to do that and take emergency power. He called for a referendum. He won by like 99%, wink, wink, right? And then he dissolved parliament. Parliament, he doesn't have to
wink as much as you want. The Shah ran zero referendums.
The prime minister, yeah, he did run a referendum. The prime minister
does
not have the power. He did.
The Shah?
For his white revolution, he ran a referendum, yes.
Wait, I'm so sorry. I'm saying you can wink at that because the Shah has zero democratic backing.
Why are you not letting me finish? I'm just to the point of this.
You interrupted me.
I'm trying to explain to you because you don't know why the Shah.
But no, you interrupted me. You didn't let me finish. If we're going to bitch and moan about that, like.
Okay, what was your point? Then I'll finish mine.
It's hard to keep like one. I'm saying don't bitch and moan about this
because you don't know.
Right.
That's why I'm.
Okay, no, I do know, and also you thinking I don't know doesn't actually like make a difference as to whether you interrupted.
Well, you said that the Shah.
1 second. Stop speaking. Wait. Whoa. 1 second.
Okay.
Let's just like take it like I just pointed out that like if we're gonna play the games of like, well, you're interrupting me, maybe follow those rules.
Sure.
A very simple point, right? Mossadegh, right, was appointed, developed, elected. I say he was elected by the Majlis because that's
just it's
oh,
false.
so you're interrupting me again.
Okay.
So he was elected by the Majlis. That is true. That is the term that is in the Iranian constitution, or the former Iranian constitution. Right. The Majlis is a democratic entity. Right. So you can say he was appointed by the Shah. I agree he was appointed by the Shah. Was it a pure democracy? Was it a pure republic? No. Right. It was similar to how the United Kingdom, it was literally based on the United Kingdom constitution. That's why I keep pointing to this. Right. I recognize the political reality is that the Shah actually can enact some of his political powers. Right. America, as a foreign government, intervened by funding a series of different tribal militias, right, as well as Shah's affiliated forces, to reinstate further Shah power, as opposed to Mossadegh, who was a notably more democratic figure. Which part of that do you disagree with?
Mossadegh was not a notably more democratic figure. That's what I
disagree with. Than the Shah?
Yeah, he wasn't. Not at all. I was going to get to
the elections. What was the democratic feedback that chose the Shah?
The Shah, the Constitution, the literal 1906 Constitution.
I'm so sorry. Wait,
it's a monarch. If you want to get literal,
but that wasn't affirmed by. Sorry, that wasn't affirmed democratically.
His father. It actually was technically the Constitution.
That's actually not true. It was not affirmed by a popular referendum.
You don't know anything. The Constitution doesn't have to be affirmed by a popular referendum.
Yeah, so that wasn't a democratic process that developed the Constitution.
You just said that because the Parliament elected Mossadegh that he was democratically appointed. Now you're saying referendums are the metric for constitutions?
No. So the Majlis has democratic feedback.
Sure, and the Constitution had democratic.
So I asked you which democratic feedback process determined the Shah. You pointed to the Constitution. Constitutions are not not necessarily a democratic feedback. They are only democratic feedback if you can point me right to the democratic integration that they had. Right. So the American Constitution, right, you could argue about its democratic basis because the constitutional convention, for example, wasn't democratically elected. So pointing to it as being constitutional pointing to it being democratic.
Real quick,
You went to
guys, hit my life goal. That'd be totally sick, bro. You know.
Okay. Anyway, you said. If you want to say the American process was democratic either, then your metric of democracy is.
Do you know what democratic feedback is in political science?
Fine. Sure, that's fine. We can go back to the point of why
the Shah has zero democratic legitimacy.
Yeah, you can think that. I know all leftists think that. It's fine. All right, you guys support the Ayatollah.
No one disagrees.
The Ayatollah. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Reza Shah took power.
I don't support the Ayatollah. That's just a lie. Stop making shit up.
I'm sure you do. Yeah, sure. His father.
I explicitly said I don't support the Ayatollah. Don't lie.
Yeah, his father took power. Correct. Reza Shah. He seized power. Then his son took over because technically, as the monarch's son, and since Reza Shah was the monarch at the time, he would take power as well. That's just how the system in Iran is.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it's democratic. Yeah, you haven't argued that it's democratic.
That's fine. That's fine. And neither.
I asked you how it was democratic. You pointed to the Constitution. So you're admitting he's not democratic.
Yeah, and if you want to, and Mossadegh being appointed by the Shah is also not democratic either.
No, Mossadegh being affirmed and elected by the Majlis is.
Yeah, he was confirmed. The only reason he's up there is because of the Shah. That's not democratic, correct?
Sorry. So when you have two bodies that have to affirm you, right, and one is monarchical and one has democratic feedback, that is more democratic than the one that is only monarchical. Do you understand that point? The democratic body helps choose you. That's democracy.
They didn't help choose him. He was only appointed.
The Majlis absolutely helped choose him.
Also, just to be clear, you also have to be confirmed by the Shah. So the Shah could just choose not to confirm you at all.
That's true, right? Exactly like the United Kingdom. King could not. There are dual powers in the Iranian constitution. Shah, the PM, the prime minister, right, has to go through both. The Shah doesn't. He's one.
Yep.
The Majlis could not depose the Shah constitutionally if they wanted, because the Shah has zero democratic feedback.
I don't know what that means at all. Zero democratic feedback.
It means that Mossadegh is more democratically legitimate than the Shah.
By definition, if you're limited by the rules within the Constitution, which is democratically confirmed, you are by extent.
The Constitution was not democratically confirmed.
It was democratically confirmed.
No, it wasn't. There was not a popular referendum. What was the democratic feedback that developed the Constitution?
Why is your metric for democracy?
Not only a popular revolution. What democratic feedback developed the Constitution of Iran?
It was affirmed by the parliaments, the modules.
The modules?
Yes, it was confirmed by the modules.
It was not affirmed by the parliament. Well, sorry, it was unilaterally adopted by the Shah. That's not true. It established the Majlis.
Are you aware that the Constitution weakened the powers of the prior Shah? Are you aware of that?
Yes, and it was a concession by the Shah, but it established the Majlis. The Majlis could not have confirmed the Constitution.
What Shah are we talking about again, just so that we're on the same path?
I don't know by name. Quite honestly, I don't know formal names. But like prior in the negotiations, right, with the establishment of the first Iranian constitution of that kind, so like the 1910s, right, it established the Majlis, the Iranian constitution we're referencing, which established the Shah as the effective UK king over the Majlis. That was a unilateral act by the monarch.
The Constitution was not unilaterally acted upon by the monarch.
Of course it was. Of course it was. It was unilateral act by the monarch.
Single-handedly.
There was no other power under the previous. There was no other power. That's just wrong. You're wrong.
Technical, sure, you can think that. Again, I know far more about this than you. But to the point,
you've demonstrated that not to be true.
So so I'm just curious. So is your metric for determining if a figure is more democratic than the other is if they're process appointed. So if a dictator, if someone like Donald Trump was voted on by the people, is he more democratic than an individual that may have not been voted on by the people but enacts the will of their people? Like, what's your metric here?
So when I'm talking about democratic feedback of a system, right, it's a pretty standard metric, right, which is when we're talking about a system, like the extent to which they are accountable to hold their power to the people, like to the demos of the government through systematic control. That can be through, right, judicial control, through legislative control, through executive control. It can be through direct referendum. It can be through periodic elections, right? And that is variable on the basis of the freedom and extent and universality of suffrage of those elections, right? Like, democracy is complex. I was assuming we had a common understanding of what democracy, and specifically liberal democracy, which is the metric we're using here, is, right? But no one thinks that the Shah as a monarch expressing monarchical power is in line with like democratic Republican like ideals. I don't think anyone thinks that.
Just to be clear, you asserted Iran was a democratic structure before, and now you're saying it's actually wasn't a democratic.
That's not what I said. I said it had democratic structures.
Yeah,
I said it had democratic structures.
Also, just to be clear, you didn't answer my question at all. Is Trump a democratic figure because he was democratically elected by the people, or do we judge that based on the things he does?
So the United States president, right, does have democratic legitimacy insofar as the elections that determined it were democratic feedback. Yes.
Is he a democratic figure?
That wasn't really my claim, but sure, yeah. In that sense, yeah, he does have democratic legitimacy, so he is a democratic figure.
So Trump is a democratic figure. Okay. So just to be clear,
insofar as he was democratically elected.
Yeah. Did Mossadegh, when Mossadegh dismantled the Supreme Court, was that democratic in any way? Did he have the constitutional power to do that? Did he have any sort of will of the people to do that?
Well, will of the people, I think it's self-evident through his popularity that he did have at least some will of the people. Sorry, one second. Don't interrupt me while I'm answering your question.
You're just wrong, though. That's the thing.
Okay, don't ask the question if you don't want a disagreeing answer.
It's not disagreeing. You're wrong. That's
okay. One second, brother. Wait. I don't. So I don't ask questions I don't want the answer to. I would expect you not to either.
I don't even know what that means. You're just giving.
You're asking a question and interrupting me before I can answer.
Okay. Continue.
What's the point of asking a question?
Okay. Continue.
I would like an answer to that. What's the point of asking a question if you don't want an answer?
The problem is that you don't know what you're talking about.
What's the point of asking a question if you don't want an answer?
I'm expecting.
If I don't know what I'm talking about, don't ask a question.
Okay, I shouldn't ask questions. It's my fault. My bad.
Okay, so as to answer the question that you asked because you've already asked it, yes, I would agree that undermining, right, an independent judiciary, right, is generally not in line with liberal democratic structures.
It was undemocratic, correct?
So it's undermining liberal democratic values, right?
Yes.
And so you're actively conflating and confusing words. So a person that was put into their position through a system of democratic feedback can act in a way that is, like, insofar as they're using that power was democratically gotten, but it can be used in a way that undermines democratic, like, values. I think that's the most helpful way to describe it. But yeah.
So yeah, that's a long way of saying the move was undemocratic. So I'm just also curious, when the Shah constitutionally dismissed Mossadegh and he kept power despite the fact that he had no constitutional or mandate to do that at all, was that a democratic move? Was he a democratic figure because of that?
So I think the Shah having constitutional power is not democratic.
You can think that. That doesn't answer my question whatsoever.
So to answer, well, it does, because him using his power to dismiss a prime minister, right, is is him using his power. And so if I don't believe that his power is democratic, then him using it is undemocratic, right? We could figure that one out.
That has absolutely nothing to do with what I said.
Okay, so I think I repeated exactly what you said, but let's ask the question again then.
Yeah, sure. I said, when Mossadegh refuses and defies the Shah's constitutional order to dismiss Mossadegh and instead stays in power and keeps power and holds on to power, and no popular mandate, in fact...
So that's not the question you asked.
It is definitely... You can literally ask anyone.
You can restate the question. I mean, I know that those are not the words you said.
Cringy, did I ask about Mossadegh's constitution?
You asked about Mossadegh. No,
I don't fucking know, bro.
It's fine.
It just doesn't seem like a topic of my fucking life. How are you even on this topic?
I'm not. It's because lefties are incredibly wrong about Iran.
I mentioned Iran and he got triggered.
No, it's because you're wrong.
That's literally what happened. Right? I mentioned Iran and you got triggered.
I know because leftists supported the Ayatollah and they're the reason why Iran is in the state it is. But irregardless,
that's fascinating because America actually funded leftists to put the Ayatollah in. We explicitly funded the communists in that territory during the revolution. That's fascinating. That's fascinating.
I'm sure you think that.
Yeah. I mean, there's strong evidence that we did that.
Strong. What is your strong evidence?
Released CIA documents of the issue. Right. Some of the documents that we received from the hostage crisis demonstrated this collusion.
The hostage crisis? When do you think the Ayatollah took power?
Sorry, the hostage crisis, of the Iranian Revolution, demonstrated CIA collusion with communist, socialists, and, by the way, Islamists within Iran at different points in time.
The hostage crisis showed that there was collaboration. What are you even saying right now?
So do you know what the Iranian hostage crisis was?
Yeah, that was 8 months after the original revolution. I'm asking you, where is your proof for collaboration with...
Guys, new live goal. Go hit it.
So do you know...
Go get it. Guys, live goal. Hit it. Yeah.
Yeah, so during the hostage crisis, do you know the documents that were released?
What were the documents that were released?
You don't?
In regards to what? The CIA releasing documents or the Iranian government?
So do you know the building that they held hostages in?
The embassy, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, which was the center of CIA functions out of Iran and all of Central Asia, to be fair.
The American embassy is the center of the CIA documents?
Yes.
Can you bring me evidence of that? I've never heard that.
Jimmy Carter explicitly said this.
When?
No one doubts this.
When?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? This was the Iranian embassy, right, was pretty openly the center of CIA functioning of the Central Asia because we were such homies with the Shah. Yeah, what?
So, yeah, I've...
Obviously, do you not know that this was a part of the function? So we found out, so the hostage crisis happened because documents that were previously classified were taken by the people that took the hostages, right? And their primary demand was for America to recognize and affirm what they had found in the CIA documents.
Not even true. The reason the hostage crisis didn't happen because people seized documents. The hostage crisis happened because the Shah was taken in by America and lefties started getting ass mad and the religious folks started getting crazy because they thought that America was going to depose the Ayatollah and re-put the Shah back in power. That's really...
Are you saying... So one of the primary claims... Okay, one second. One of the primary claims of the hostage crisis was they wanted to recognize that America colluded to depose Mossadegh. Do you disagree with that claim?
Completely, yeah.
You disagree that the primary claim of, or at least one of the primary claims of the hostage takers during the Iranian hostage crisis was to recognize American collusion in deposing Mossadegh?
No, I don't believe that.
Oh, okay. That is so ubiquitously accepted. Jimmy Carter accepted that was true. Reagan accepted that was true. The Iranian Ayatollah said it was true. The Shah said it was true. Everyone recognizes that was the demand of the hostage takers at the very least. And they explicitly said that the thing is, what's confusing what we're saying is there's no reason for you to be arguing it. Right, you could say, yeah, that's what they said, but it's not because documents they discovered.
If you have a Discord, you can send me all the evidence of this. That's
Bro,
fine.
evidence
of their demands.
And ate dinner and y'all are still yapping.
Look, I mean, this is very
relevant. I know.
Iran is
still fucking yapping about this.
Look, we're still mad about Iran. I don't know. I feel like it's fair to be mad about it.
So
but you have no
That's not what I'm confused, by the way. I was
You're
just
rejecting
saying
the primary claim of the hostage takers in Iran.
Yeah,
No one
trying to
disagrees.
explain.
Wait, do you
The
think
primary-
Jimmy Carter is lying when he says that this was the primary reason they did it?
Virtually every single, just to be clear, every single Iranian historian disagrees with that concept.
Literally no one disagrees that the hostage takers demanded that America recognize the role they played in deposing Mossadegh.
The main reason for the hostage crisis was, like I said, the Shah had been accepted by Jimmy Carter into America because of his sickness. The fear within Iran was that America would back the Shah and jump into Iran.
Yeah, that's true. I'm recognizing reality. That's true.
We can tie this back to your overarching theme that they already believed that they did it prior, which they didn't, but they already believed that, and therefore they thought he was going to do it again. But the main claim was the fact that America just took the Shah. It had nothing to do with the America just existing and then being.
This is like the most basic claim that'll demonstrate like what level of knowledge we're working on. You're denying that the hostage takers. You're denying that the hostage takers alleged that America had helped depose Mossadegh.
I just told you they had ties to that. Yes, I don't even know.
Okay, but you previously denied that. So do you think that this is a basic? It's one sentence. I know it's long. Just like I would love a direct answer to it because this is like either I'm speaking to someone who has no fucking clue what they're talking about, or someone who is like vaguely on it. Was one of the demands of the hostage takers during the Iranian hostage crisis for America to recognize their role in deposing Mossadegh?
I don't think so. I don't know.
You're so stupid. You have no clue what you're talking about. We can move on from Iran. You have absolutely no clue what you're talking about. They released it. It was one of their primary demands. They have a whole book about it that the Iranian government has released, that the American government has recognized and said we did not do it, and then it was accepted in CIA released documents. Literally nothing about what you're saying makes any sense from any side. Jimmy Carter said that this was the demand. Reagan said this was the demand. America said it was the demand. You have no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah, sure. You at any time you can send me the answers for any of this stuff.
I don't have your Discord. Send me your Discord and I'll send it. It's so stupidly obvious.
Okay.
So yeah, if anyone wants to look this up, look up demands of hostage takers, Iranian hostage crisis. Great. This guy has no clue what he's talking about. That's fine.
Okay. Just to be clear, Iran has never renounced the hostage crisis, whereas America has admitted their role in Operation Ajax. How do you explain that exactly?
Well, I don't think they were wrong in taking like some of the hostages. I think taking some of the hostages.
That has nothing to do with what I asked. So if your claim is that the reason was because of the fact that they needed to admit their role in Operation Ajax, but they did, right? In the 1990s, they did admit that. Clinton's Secretary of State did admit that the CIA had a role in Operation Ajax. Then why has the Iranian government never ever renounced the hostages? Why is the
renounced? Well, I mean, they did return the hostages.
Yeah, they returned them after extensive negotiation for both sides. That's not a renouncement of the act itself.
But the demand, those two things are non-commensurate.
What was Khomeini's words right after the hostage crisis?
Sorry, the two things are non-commensurate. So
I'm not going to answer that.
Well, because you've asked 3 questions.
Sure. Well, just answer this one. Just curious.
I don't know the exact words.
Yeah, his words were, "America can't do a damn thing." Do you think that's of someone that was renouncing that act? And how do you think he's held?
Renunciation. I mean, America hasn't renounced anything.
They've conceded that they had a role in Operation Ajax.
Yeah, but did they renounce their role?
I'm pretty sure Obama did, right? He literally was like, the reason why Iran is so bad, blah, 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 et cetera, is our fault, blah, blah, et cetera, right? Is that not an explicit renouncement of it?
We can see the renunciation, but one second. I just want to be clear because you're moving a lot of things. One second. Wait, you can make 10 claims at once, but I can only respond to one. So So the Iranian hostage crisis, my claim is that they made a specific demand, right? And that was one of their multiple demands to release the hostages, right? And then you're saying, okay, they've released the hostages. America has fulfilled their demands. Why doesn't Iran now renunciate their action of taking hostages? Do you see how that is non-commensurate to the point that I made, right? Which is renunciation of action compared to continuation of action doing exactly what you promised are entirely unrelated.
No, not really. You haven't demonstrated that at all.
I don't think I have to demonstrate renunciation being a different thing than affirmation.
Sure. Do you think that the hostages have had any sort of, or the people that took it, the students, do you think they've had any sort of statement saying, hey, now that America's admitted their role in Operation Ajax, we should probably renounce the acts that we took on in 1980 or whatever the hell, 1979 or whatever?
Well, I mean, so
that hasn't happened.
I don't see how that's commensurate to a claim that I've made.
Sure. You could think that. I'm just asking.
Well, you haven't demonstrated. Well,
the same thing.
You haven't demonstrated that it's commensurate to a claim that I made.
Guys, hit my live goal like real quick. It's like 50 roses. Go. Got it.
Right. So you haven't demonstrated that it's commensurate to a
Hit the
claim I
fucking
made.
live goal. Go.
I'm just curious. If
Go.
the hostages' motives for supporting or doing that act was, hey, America's not acknowledging, then logically they'd probably not support that anymore or not continue to view that as in a very high light, the same way the Iranian government still continues to do to this day right now. Logically, if America concedes on that gun and says, hey, we did have involvement in your nation in 1953 or whatever, blah, 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 sucks. However, it seems to be the case that's not the case. Iran loves the hostage crisis. They glorify it. And, they're all anti-American rhetoric, blah, 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 etc. Right? It seems to me that probably wasn't the primary reason if America has fulfilled that burden, and yet Iran still views the hostage crisis as a great thing. They have not viewed America as changing at all.
A few things. First of all, no, that doesn't follow. It doesn't follow that because America fulfilled part of, also my claim was never that this was their singular claim. I've actually made that very clear this whole time, right? And I've actually conceded the claim that you made, right, on this point. But first of all, so it does not actually follow that if let's say I took a hostage and then I make a demand, right, and someone fulfills that demand, right, then I go, oh, I was wrong for taking the hostage. No, right? The exchange has been done, right? I got the demand I wanted, you got the hostage back. Like, it doesn't mean that I was wrong for taking the hostage, especially, right, if Iran, like, for example, like with the Iranian students, believed that there was involvement in deposing Mossadegh, right? And then America affirmed that, right, with their recognition of the engagement in Project AVAX, right? They'd be like, yeah, we were totally right in taking it. Doesn't actually connect to any claim I've actually made. Second of all, I believe like the Iranian-American Reconciliation Commission is still going on, right? Like even from back then, there was still the commission going on. So like America still, I actually believe it is still ongoing. One second, it might have just ended in like 2017.
You say commission, or are you saying
when
improvement of relations?
Iranian Reconciliation Commission and yeah, the Iranian American founded then. Yeah, so the Iranian the Iran U.S. Claims Tribunal. I think it's still open. I think you can still make claims in it. The point is, even to this issue, I don't think all like the actual legal claims and disagreements have been laid out. So if your point is that all the demands have been filled, right? It's still going through the legal process.
Just curious,
has America?
I don't know if you're referring to a specific program but has Iran what demands has America made of Iran?
Sorry, I cut out. I think I have bad Wi-Fi. What'd you say?
What demands have America made of Iran in order to normalize relations?
So we've certainly asked for fuck. God damn it. Please, Wi-Fi, come back. So we've certainly asked for like money back for the destruction to our embassy, but also it's like this got complicated following the oil platforms case because we like illegally bombed their oil platforms, and then like the collusion that we did with Iraq with Saddam for invasion of Iran.
You think
there are a few claims that.
You think the Iran-Iraq war was collusion on America's part? What collusion?
Well, America did pretty like
they aided, yeah, of course they aided Iraq. That's not a collusion implication is completely different. That's like saying every nation in existence has colluded in a war, right? Like we aided Iraq.
No, like America aiding Iraq in invading Iran is collusion to invade Iran.
You're gonna say the Soviet Union also colluded with Iraq to invade Iran?
In a sense.
Sure. Just to be clear, also, America only gave like intelligence predominantly, whereas the Soviets were funding Iraq, right? Also, Iraq's invasion in Iran was probably on the grounds a lot more justified than a lot of the shit Iran has done. Do you disagree with that?
You would have to make more specific claims, but I'm not. I don't like everything Iran has done.
Pretty much, Khomeini was basically literally just saying that he was going to openly support any sort of deposal of Saddam Hussein. That he was calling for a Shia uprising in the area. A militant group linked to Iran tried to assassinate, I think, the deputy prime minister. Iran literally supported all of that. They said they're going to support any sort of Shia-backed militants that tried to depose Saddam Hussein, etc. And then once the war started, once Iran kicked Iraq out of all their territory, Iraq called for numerous ceasefires, and Iran rejected all of them. Their rejection was saying that they wanted to depose Saddam Hussein and Islam.
I know you. So like, if your point is just like Iran bad, like this is not really.
It was a fair casus belli, right? Iraq had a fair justification because Iran was literally just threatening their government with deposing it and installing a puppet government. Correct.
Well, I mean, and Iraq was sorry. Just to be clear, Iraq and America were doing exactly the same thing.
No, they weren't.
I'm sorry. Did America not call for the return to the Shah?
They didn't. They did not call for the return of the Shah. Not even close. What are you talking about?
It's
America
funny.
didn't call,
Thank you.
Sorry, America didn't call for the return of the Shah.
No, when the Shah was deposed, America did not call for the return of the Shah at all. No, there's not a single public statement you can point to of America saying return the Shah back to power.
Explicitly did. We condemned the expulsion of the Shah from Iran.
You realize that's not what you said, right?
Wait,
I'm sure
those are commensurate statements. If you condemn the expulsion of a government, you call for the return of that government.
The Shah wasn't really kicked out. He left voluntarily, so I don't think America condemned that.
He left amid act of political violence.
He did that all the time. He did that numerous times. He did that in the 1953 crisis. He does that all the time. That was just a thing the Shah did. He left amongst turmoil.
You want to split hairs about what expulsion means. I think leaving in the middle of a political crisis, right, is expulsion when you then are deposed of power, right? And America called for the return and re-empowerment of him. That is calling for the return of him. Like, I don't know even what vague level of reality we're living on that America didn't support the return.
Yeah, you could. They supported the Shah, of course. I don't think they ever called to return the Shah to power. If you want to send me that, sure.
Did they
you can
condemn the expulsion
I can
of him?
send all my sources for everything that I've said.
Did they condemn the expulsion of him?
I don't think so. No, I don't remember.
America didn't condemn the expulsion of the Shah.
No, I've not read a single thing about that.
Because you haven't read a single thing. I mean, Ronald Reagan explicitly called for the return of the Shah.
Okay.
Once again, we can have this.
What year did he do that in?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean,
Well, hopefully it was like
when
when he
I
was elected.
I don't have my sources in front of you. I can send in front of me. I can send you my sources.
Hopefully it was when he was elected because Jimmy Carter was the president whenever the Shah left, right?
I'm aware.
Okay, and the hostages were returned when Reagan was in presidency, right? So I don't really know how he could call for the Shah to be returned when the Shah was dead around this time now. Doesn't really add up.
Once again,
so I'm kind of calling BS on that now.
Right? So Ronald Reagan did explicitly call for the return of the Shah, right? I can point you to the point.
Didn't the Shah die in 80? Didn't the Shah die in 81?
America's consistent position. First of all, Ronald Reagan was politically active prior to his presidency. But once again, we can get back and forth on this point if you would really like in Discord, where I can get you the sources in front of me. But the idea that America did not support the Shah returning openly and publicly is absolute nonsense, right? We have condemned and lacked recognition of the Islamic regime for almost as long as it has existed. That is nonsense.
The Islamic regime sucks, dude. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I don't disagree. But we call for regime change in Iran almost every year. If that is sufficient justification for war, Iran has every justification ever to bomb us to oblivion.
That's even the most war, like even Trump, dude. Like really, like both of us don't like Trump. Just to be clear, Trump literally said we're not doing regime change, right? Like, is this really?
I'm sorry. They all said we want the Islamic regime gone.
Was Obama's plan?
Biden said
was Obama?
Trump said it.
Obama, just to be clear, the guy who had the most reconciliation with Iran in American history was the guy that wanted regime change.
The Islamic regime.
Yeah, sure, because the Islamic regime sucks. No kidding. That's not the same thing as wanting regime change.
I'm sorry. It is self-evident, right? When we are still supporting the family of the Shah, the United Kingdom is still recognizing the power of the Shah. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I hate to tell you, but the Shah was like infinitely better than Khomeini and his goons. I'm sorry.
Once again, we can have the discussion about which is better. The idea that we're not attempting to incite regime change, right? When things like the National Endowment for Democracy are funding like explicit propaganda supporting Shah power return to Iran, I don't know how we're living in a reality where America is not supporting regime change in Iran. Like,
no, I don't think Obama. I don't think Biden. I don't think Trump has ever called for regime change in Iran. No, that statement doesn't exist.
Sorry. So okay, let's just make this a basic point. Did Netanyahu call for regime change in Iran?
I don't even think he did. That's the funny thing.
You don't think Netanyahu called for regime change in Iran?
What were his words on Operation Rising Lion? Didn't he literally say, "We want the Iranian people to do it themselves," blah 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 blah, etc.? Did he not literally say
helping
that?
them.
Sorry,
and we're helping them.
We're helping Israel. That's telling Iran to.
Sorry. No. And Netanyahu said, and we're helping the Iranian people.
What is Netanyahu's version of help? Is it like funding insurgent groups, or is it like sending water and like sending a message?
No, sending bombs to bomb Iran.
That has had nothing to do with regime change.
You don't really?
Completely, like easily.
Really? Netanyahu explicitly connected the establishment of the nuclear maintenance, right, of Iran, or the development of nuclear weapons by the Islamic regime, to the inability of the Iranian people to then depose them, right? Like, anyway,
I'm just curious. What did he ask the Iranian people to say?
Regime change in Iran is nonsense.
Yeah, he called for regime change, but he didn't say we're going to fund your regime change. He said do it yourself, which is a completely fine stance to have, just to be clear.
Do it yourself, and also we'll bomb the regime for you.
They didn't bomb it for them. They bombed it because Israel has their own interest in bombing Iran.
Yeah, and one of those interests is regime change.
That's just, again, I don't know what to tell you. That's just factually not what Netanyahu's ever said.
Calls for regime change, says we want to see regime change, and then bombs you. I think we can connect these two things, especially when they connect these two things. Netanyahu called for regime change, like basically in the same breath as he bombed Iran. He explicitly condemned the Islamic Republic and called on the Islamic people to, or the Iranian people, to step up against the Islamic.
You're saying a lot of things, sure, that are true, and then you're for some reason connecting them as if they have anything to do with each other. The Iranian people should oppose Iran. Also,
in the same speech, talking about the same people.
Yeah, he said the Iranian people should oppose the Iranian government. Also, we're bombing them because we don't like nukes, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
No connection.
So you don't think these two things that he said at the same time, in the same context, against the same people, by the same person, are connected?
They're not really. No, the stance of the bombing in Iran was not for anything.
Great, deadly bad faith. That's so wrong.
I'm just curious. If Israel wanted regime change, why would... Like, they didn't need to bomb the nukes. They could have just bombed the Ayatollah, right?
So, I mean, they have killed Iranian officials.
They've not attempted to strike the Ayatollah, correct?
They killed Soleimani and Khomeini.
Yeah, Soleimani is not the Ayatollah.
Sorry, and Netanyahu has said he wants to kill the Ayatollah.
Did Israel strike the Ayatollah in Operation Rising Lion?
So, obviously the Ayatollah is still alive. So no, right?
That's not even an answer, bro. You know the truth. Why are you dancing around it? There was no attempts on the Ayatollah's life. You acknowledge that, correct?
That's fine. That's not the point.
So why would that be any sort of motive for them doing it to weaken?
You realize the Ayatollah isn't the only part of the regime, right?
Sorry?
You realize the Ayatollah isn't the only part of the regime, right?
Ayatollah is the largest and most significant part of the regime, 100%. I don't know why you're saying that. If you want to get semantics on the IRGC,
you guys want to wrap this up? I gotta go make a TikTok video, so I'm gonna have to end live.
This is the most amount of views.
5 more minutes of this, please.
Yeah, the Ayatollah is 100% the most.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi is going in and out, but yeah, that wasn't the claim I made. So, do you think the strike against Khomeini was a strike to incite regime change?
Did you say Soleimani?
Soleimani.
Yeah, Soleimani had no elected position in the Iranian government. He was the leader of the Quds Force, right? He was not an elected official in any sort of capacity, right? It was to weaken them. Sorry?
I mean, neither is the Ayatollah. He's elected in kind of a...
The Ayatollah.
He has constitutional legitimacy, but so did Soleimani.
No, the Quds Force has absolutely nothing to do with Iran. It's an insurgent group based in the IRGC, which is not really even Iran's military. They have another military, and his own operations as the general are not the same thing as, say, the Secretary of State. I forgot his name. I forgot his name. Yeah, not the same thing, even though Soleimani pretty much acted in the exact same way, which was to conduct foreign affairs. His position literally just doesn't exist. He was like a rogue agent, more or less.
You don't. So you don't think? Do you think the strike against Soleimani was a strike against the Iranian government? It obviously was a strike.
Oh yeah, of course, a strike against the Iran. Yeah, I don't know what that statement means. Obviously, it was a strike against the government.
So when you strike against the government, right, of a state that you don't think should exist, right? Which America doesn't think the Islamic regime should be in power, right? And we support allies that actively call for those people to rise up against their government and take it over, right? You are obviously engaged. You have intent, you have act, right? You have aim, you have incitation, right? That is obviously an act of regime change.
My biggest confusion is how you like bring one point and then you somehow stretch it to the like maximum conclusion. And
So
then
when
somehow
you say
like,
you
arrive
believe in
at
regime
point.
change and then you bomb that regime, you're bombing
Soleimani
them,
has
or at
nothing.
least in
Soleimani
part
has nothing
because
to
you
do
believe
with
in regime
regime
change.
change. Killing Soleimani doesn't do anything about that. It affects their
Obviously,
foreign
it weakens
policies.
the
It doesn't
people
have anything to do
defending
with
and
regime change.
protecting the. Sorry, it weakens the people.
So
defending and
wait,
protecting the
are you
regime.
Soleimani was defending the Iranian people when his operation in Syria and Iraq?
The Islamic Republic.
Yeah, the Islamic Republic. Just to be clear,
That's the regime. Wait, are you
what did
this
the-
dumb? That's
what
the
did
regime.
What did the people of Syria think whenever Soleimani died?
I'm not talking about the people.
Yeah, you said they were Soleimani's goal is the defending of the Islamic Republic. What were the civilians of Syria
The Islamic
doing when
the
Soleimani was
regime.
over
Wait,
there?
I'm sorry. Do you not think Soleimani, right, was serving the
No,
interests
he wasn't.
of the Islamic
His goal
Republic?
was to be an imperialist shield for the Islamic Republic. That's his goal.
Yes,
It wasn't to defend
he's
Iran.
defending the interests of the Islamic Republic.
Yeah, the interest of
That's my
murdering
point.
civilians in Syria and
That's the
Iraq.
regime,
Sure,
brother.
yes.
That's the regime.
If you want to shill for that, sure, that's fine. But,
I'm not
if you
shilling
want
for
to
that. Wait, no. Nothing about what you're saying is even vaguely close to anything I'm saying. No. Whoa. I said Soleimani was serving the interests of the Islamic Republic. And you've lost your mind. You agree.
Sure. You said your initial claim was that he was defending the Islamic, which is not true. Soleimani didn't defend Iran. They weren't defending Iran when they were in Syria.
Defending the interests. Or just to be clear, defending the interests.
Yeah, that's a good clarification because the first thing you said was completely false, right? Sure, if you want to say it was defending the interests,
You're defending it.
sure. I'd say if you assassinated Hexit, you probably aren't defending a guy or against the condemnation of a guy who's defending America, right? It's not exclusive.
Hegseth is defending, once again, I never said Iran.
You said defending the Islamic Republic's government, correct?
I said the Islamic Republic, which is the regime.
Soleimani does not.
Let's take your example.
Mm-hmm.
If we attacked Hegseth, we would be attacking a person who defends the American regime. That's true.
Defends their interests. You should clarify. Hexit doesn't defend
He
America.
literally defends the American regime, but also their interests, right? And I do think that defending your interests is tantamount to defending oneself.
Just curious, what's
The hairs about that difference, that's fine. But I'm confused where you're splitting the hairs here. Because Soleimani was part of the defense apparatus, both of the Islamic Republic proper, as well as their proxies.
Of course, yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so his existence, his purpose, his aim was to defend, right, the Islamic Republic regime, which is exactly what I said.
Of course, yeah. At the expense of their own people.
I said something, you just kind of lost your mind.
Yeah.
Sure,
Agree with what I
yeah,
said.
it's just a technical thing, more of a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
I interpreted defense in the sense that you're saying that a foreign army is invading Iran and that's his goal or his job to defend them from a threat. In reality, Soleimani acted when Iran had no threats, right? But yeah, sure.
What I said was the regime.
Sure.
Fascinating. Okay, I think this has gotten to the point. I think you've
I
demonstrated.
agree. I'm ending live.
What we
I love
know.
all of you.
Wait, can I? Okay, bye.
Bye.
No.
X.
Yeah. You still live on YouTube?